Hey, what's up? This is Katrina Collins, also known as Kat Tat, and you're tuned into Rolling Out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Rolling Out, Design and Dialogue. I'm Rashad Milligan. Today we are joined by a very, very special guest. All the way out on the West Coast, we have Miss Kat Tat. Kat, first things first, congratulations on being married, on having a marriage and everything like that with Jamie Collins, NFL star, longtime NFL guy over there and stuff like that. But first, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just got back to California. We've been a little bi-coastal, so it just feels good to be back in the swing of things, back in my shop, and yeah, I'm feeling good.
And Jamie, to play on those teams of Belichick and everything with like so much discipline and like the Patriot New England way, I guess how does that kind of transition to like how he is as a father? I know that's an offbeat question of why we're here today, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to know.
Jamie, he's like a big teddy bear. Like he really is. So it's good to watch him when he comes home from work. Like he just really takes it all off. Like he's such a playful dad. He calls himself the fun parent. He be throwing them boys around in ways that I never could. But it's just great watching him as a father, I don't know. He's great.
So you're like the bad cop. So good cop, bad cop. You have to be the one. Hey guys, we can't have fun all the time, unfortunately.
I have two little boys, you know what I'm saying? They're physical like their daddy, and Jamie is physical. So like I don't know, he got me beat there. Like he teaching them how to do backflips already. And yeah, like literally every day I come home, I'm like, this is not even my house anymore. Like it's just like the whole house is like a big amusement park, So I feel like Jamie just gets to like relive his childhood like for real with his babies. So it's great. I just like to sit back and watch, and when he yells at them, that's when they come crying to me and I get my little bit of attention.
Well, my follow-up question to that, just like staying in the family realm and everything like that, is like some like late 20-year-olds and everything like that, people in their late 20s, mid to late 20s, and they're like, man, like, I got all my partying out the way, I did my dating, I want to settle down and start a family up. For you now being in that, freshly married, two sons, what I'm saying, and everything like that, young sons, just getting this thing started, what can you say to that person mid to late 20s looking, all right, I want to settle down, start the family? What do you have to say to them?
I would honestly say, and not knocking anybody who, started early and had kids early, or, fell in love early, that's great. I love the way that I did it and the way that Jamie did it. Like we've both in similar, we're both kind of in entertainment, like careers, and we both worked very, very hard. I'm happy I got everything that I needed to do, like out of my system. I've established myself, and I'm not missing anything. I've literally experienced like all that there is to experience. And like when I was like 28, I started just feeling like, like I feel like I'm ready for that next thing. Like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was a TV show. I didn't know what it was, but I was ready for that next thing. And that's when Jamie came and like got his tattoo, and everything with us just flowed so smoothly and seamless. And I feel like it's because we were both kind of at the same maturity level. So I think that that's smart for people. A lot of people that are in their late 20s, like they start feeling like they're, missing out, or like they're getting old. And it's like, no, it's nothing wrong with like, establishing yourself in your 20s, living your life, because once you have kids, like that shit is over. It's about the babies. It's about, you have to sacrifice a lot to be in a happy family. So I think it's good. I think late 20s, early 30s is a good time to start.
Right. No, because that's literally what I thought about when you said, when I get home, it's no longer my house. It's, the boy's house, and everything like that. So
Exactly.
that just what made that pop up. This is Design and Dialogue. So I do want to talk to you before we get into the TV show and stuff like that. I want to talk to you about the art of tattoos and everything like that. At what point did you first kind of get interested in, before we get to even tattoos, what point did you get interested in art?
So I feel like art is just something that my mother passed down to me. Like I remember being a little girl and she would just draw pictures of me and my brother. She's always been super talented, but she's always worked a corporate job. It was never anything that she did like for her profession. So ever since a young age, like I remember teachers telling me how detailed my drawings were. At parent teacher conferences, they would be like, like putting emphasis on my art. Like, look, she's got high heels on her figures and eyelashes and just a lot of attention to detail. So I remember in high school, I would always take art classes as my easy A's. Like I would always pick art for my electives because I knew I was going to get an A. I was never the best student. So my A in art kind of averaged out my GPA. So I've always had the talent. And then towards the end of high school, like when kids started getting older and getting tattoos, I was the person that everybody came to, like, can you draw my tattoo? Can you draw my tattoo? So that's kind of where it started.
Okay, and what's the process as someone who doesn't have tattoos? What is the process? Like, when you draw the tattoo, like, do you draw it like on a piece of paper and like the art of that? Like, how does that work?
Um, so I guess the best way, like to get the best tattoo, like would be, somebody who trusts my art. Like they've seen enough of my work to know that they can just give me an idea and I'm gonna make them a cool tattoo design. Because a lot of times, like people will come in with like little sketches and they were like, I drew this out myself. Like I want this as a tattoo. But me as a tattoo artist, like I know what's gonna transfer into a good tattoo and what's not. So yeah, I guess it's just like give me an idea and then I take it from there and kind of, do my thing. And I feel like that's when people are going to come out with the best tattoo when they really trust their artist.
Are there any stencils that you use or anything like that, or is it like full
Yeah.
like
So
the hand of God?
yeah, no, I do mainly like realism, like portraits and anything realistic. Like, some people want their old school car tattooed on them. So for me, it's like, um I take it and you trace it out, literally every single detail, everything that you can actually see in this, like, and that's what I make my stencil out of. But if it's something more abstract, like a rose or, some type of scenery or a butterfly or anything like that, then you can just kind of like freehand. And that's when I can have fun with my markers and just draw directly on the skin. But like, if it's a portrait, like, no, that's coming from a stencil because it has to be exact. I've seen, you can Google freehand tattoo portraits and it's not the person that you thought you was getting.
That exactly like it's like the uh, I don't want to say. I was about to say some names, and then I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do
Yeah.
that." Respect the dead. Respect the dead. Yeah. What is that right there on your arm? Is that a rose right there on your arm, on your right arm?
Right here. Yeah, this is
Yep.
part of a whole tattoo. It's a Bernini sculpture. Actually,
Oh,
sorry, it just flipped. I'll flip it back. But yeah, it's a Bernini sculpture, and then it just kind of like borders with a couple of small little roses.
that's
But yeah,
fire.
when I was studying my black and gray tattoos, like Bernini sculptures, just had a lot of different things to practice. It helps with like a lot of grays. So I became like obsessed with those sculptures, and that's how I ended up getting one. And then I found out after that it had a lot of deep like religious meaning behind it.
So it just like added to the value for you after that once you
Yeah,
found out.
exactly.
Well, what was the first one you got? What's the first tattoo you got?
The first tattoo that I got is on my ankle, and it's two roses with a banner wrapped around it with my parents' name and my name in the middle.
Roses seem to be a theme here in the first couple spots. Like the very
Yeah.
so like what do roses mean to you?
I just love how they look. Like when I would draw and do studies, that's what they call it, like studies in art class, when they put something realistic in front of you and you have to study it and, recreate it. So I've just always fell in love with like how they look, especially as tattoos. I probably have like 12 roses tattooed on me just because I just like how they look.
Would you like recommend roses as the thing? I know some people, I feel like even in social media, in a weird way, it could be seen as roses, like people requesting roses and stuff like that has become such a thing. Some people on the other end might think, oh, that's too basic and predictable. How do you feel about roses as a roses lover?
I think roses, along with like a lot of different black and gray pieces, there's a few things that are just timeless. They're timeless and they're classic. And roses are one of those things. Like if they're done the right way, it's never going to go out of style. It's always going to be beautiful. It's always going to grab attention, and just be timeless.
What is your favorite tattoo?
My favorite. My favorite tattoo is a tattoo. It's on my wrist actually. I don't know if you can see it. It's under my watch, but uh-oh. Can you I don't know what I
I can see. I'm still here. I'm still
okay.
here.
Yeah, it's a my auntie Jane before she passed away, she had stage 4 colon cancer and it was on her bucket list to get a tattoo from me. So I went to tattoo her. And when I did that, I taught her how to hold my machine and she freehanded her name in Korean on my wrist. And she ended up passing, I think 7 days later. So like every time I look at that tattoo, it just makes me think of her. It gave me so much grace with her passing that I got to spend those last moments with her and have something to show for it forever. So that's definitely my favorite tattoo.
When you think about tattoos and just life in general, like you said, with your aunt there had it on her bucket list and stuff like that. I guess just um, it's kind of like one of those things of where I remember a few decades ago, it was like this is going to be permanent. It is going to be for the rest of your life when you're old and wrinkled. And then
Right.
it's like now it's like people are taking kind of the approach. I feel like kind of your aunt was with the bucket list and everything like that of like I only get one life. Like
Right.
I need to do what makes me happy with it. So I feel like what do you think tattoos do for that sake of this one life experience that we all get?
Yeah, so for me, when you ask me the question, like, what's your favorite tattoo? Like, for me, it's not even about like the artwork. Like, I have a lot of beautiful art, like, done by top tier artists. What literally came to my mind is like how I felt when I was getting the tattoo, like the most special memory that that tattoo brings to me. So I think that it goes both ways. Some people like their tattoos is a visual thing for them and they just want something that looks great and something to be proud of. And then I think for other people it's about the experience and about what that tattoo means for them. People get little signatures that you can barely even read of their loved ones before they pass, and those are their favorite tattoos because it just means something. So I think it goes both ways for sure.
Okay, okay, all right. And now we could move on. Oh wait, hold on. Before we move on, I'm sorry, because I was about to move on to the TV show. There's one more thing in tattoos we have to bring up, and I'm so glad I checked. I'm so glad I checked before I kept moving. You are the first Black woman to own a tattoo shop in Beverly. Come on, man. Y'all give it up. First things first for that. If you're watching right now, stop. Pause the video and just start clapping. And then press play after. All right, I appreciate it. Welcome back to Rolling Out. I'm Rashad Milligan, Design and Dialogue. We are here with Kat Tat, the first Black woman to own a tattoo shop in Beverly Hills, California. Now, well, I don't even want to do that again. See, I was about to put out some names, Kat. I had to stop myself a couple times in this interview to put out some names. But Beverly Hills, when you think about that, I guess just how does that make you feel to know that because it's one thing to have the first tattoo shop as a Black woman, but in a place like Beverly Hills, one of the most luxurious and biggest names in all of America for towns, how does that make you feel?
Hearing you say it the way you did, like sometimes I have to sit back and like really reflect on it. It just all takes me back to when I first started tattooing in college. Like I was literally at a big university, like just trying to figure it out, but my heart was with tattoos. So when I made the decision to drop out, because everybody was like, yeah, tattooing's cool, like, but it's a
Well,
hustle.
what school was it? What school was it? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
University of Missouri, Mizzou.
Okay, okay, Mizzou. Okay, all right,
Yep.
continue.
So everybody was rooting for me, like tattoo wise, as long as I stayed in school and kept it, a hustle. You know what I mean? And when I say everybody, I mean like my family, like my parents, people that want you to get my degree and things like that. So when I made the decision to drop out, I had so much convincing. I knew what I was going to do with this career, but I had to convince my dad and my mom, who did so much for me to go to college and just like, had all these big hopes for me and thought that tattooing was just like this little side hustle. So when I promised them, like, look, support me in this, and I promise I'm going to take it like to the top, because I knew what they thought. I knew that tattoo shops back then were just, a lot of little hole in the wall shops. Like it wasn't like a mainstream like career, you know what I mean? But I've always had like big hopes and big dreams for myself in this. So to see now, what, 14 years later, like from when I first picked up a tattoo machine, like what I've done with it, and to know that I stuck with what I said I was going to do and the vision that I had for not just myself, but for Black tattoo artists as a whole. Like when I first started, there was not a mainstream lane for us. It was like, y'all are scratchers. Like Black tattoo artists are scratchers. Like people didn't want to spend money with Black tattooers because, of a stereotype. And they're like, oh, I want to go to the white shops and spend this big money. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for me to have done what you said, like it makes me feel really, really good, and a reminder that I'm on the right path and that I am a pioneer in shifting the culture, the tattoo culture.
100%, 100%. And you have to salute that and you have to acknowledge that. But before we move on, like I said, um, hmm, do I want to go? We can move to that at the end. We do want to get into this TV show. So now with the TV show, we'll keep it a little light before we go back personal. Just what's all going on with you and Paramount and everything like that. What's going on the TV side of things?
Yeah, so I'm back to the Black Ink franchise. Paramount actually acquired Viacom, and then BET. We made the switch over to BET now. So now we're part of the BET family, and it's just like a full circle moment for me. And like I'm just happy to be back with the franchise. So it's a kind of a long story how I came back around. People know that I left Black Ink Chicago back in 2017, and what, 6 years, 5 years later, I'm making a return to TV. So it's just great to be in this position now. Like I'm a business owner. I have, a bigger deal with the network. It's not just, a talent deal. So I feel like everything that I'm doing is being more recognized. And I'm the first female lead of the franchise. So it's just very, very exciting.
What is some advice that you can give to people, like creatives specifically? Like you said, this time around, what I'm saying, you have a little more leverage in the deals and the negotiating. What advice do you have for creatives with negotiating and everything like that? And, from what you learned from last time you were on TV to now?
So the one thing that's remained consistent from when I started TV back in 2015, I would say two words: stay true. Like literally stay true, especially in reality TV. You have to write your own story. And the best way that you can do that when there's so many executives and producers and, outside perceptions of you and what you are and what you should be and what you could be. It's like, no, have a plan, stick with it, and stay true to what your goals are. So for me, when we got a TV opportunity, it was always just like, boom, this is an opportunity for me to continue to do what I always said I wanted to do, which was make the biggest possible situation out of my tattoo business. And I just use TV to do it. You just use the platform and use your leverage and just stay focused. So I've always done that. Like even when Chicago was such a hit, I knew I wanted to move to LA. And even when it was like, oh, but you're on a Chicago show, you can't move to LA, I didn't listen to any of the noise. And then even when that meant walking away from a hit TV show in the middle of it while you're filming with your best friends, just quitting it all. But I knew that my destiny was something bigger. So, I just stayed true to that. And I didn't let any of the naysayers or any of the noise knock me off my focus. And here we are 6 years later. Now the focus is on my shop. Just a whole new light. So I'm happy that I always stuck to my guns. And, when you do that, it's like either you have it or you don't. So when it comes to contract negotiations and stuff like that, when you ask, it's like, you have to believe in yourself, know your worth. You just got to know your worth. And if it doesn't feel right, and if you feel like you're, getting the short end of a stick, then you got to know when to walk away. And you can't be scared to walk away.
You gotta know when to hold on. Come on, man. But I want to ask you, just even kind of going back to this of the personal side, going from your DV situation to motherhood to now being married and stuff like that. I guess just you mentioned it earlier how you said you were younger and you got to do everything possible under the sun and stuff like that and you got to enjoy life, but with that past, like what was that journey like for you to kind of heal, forgive, and then be open to love again?
Um, the main thing was it wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't. After it happened, after I went through it, I just kind of like shut it out. I didn't want to be looked at like a victim. I didn't I don't know. I kind of like shut it out as if it never happened. And I didn't even realize that it was affecting me. Like for a while, going on dates or being around like men, like I just wanted to kind of like drink. Like my first mind just went to like alcohol, like going on a date, like it was like, okay, where are we going to have drinks? You know what I mean? Like I was just trying to block out and just not be present in not only dealing with the situation I had been in, but dealing with next situations. It's like I didn't really want to be there, you know? And the first time I actually spoke about it or shed tears about what had happened to me was actually on the TV. The producers kind of pushed me to open up and speak about it, and just repeating the details of what happened to me. I let out tears, and that felt like I started healing, talking about it, because I had held it in for months because I'm like, you know, it happened, whatever, move on instead of really dealing with it. So once I talked about it, and to be able to talk about it on a national platform where I let it out live, and then to get the outreach and the outpour of women who have been through similar situations and tell me how me talking about it actually helped them, that those are my first steps in healing. And it took years. It took years. That was just something that I had to go through that, made me who I am today. But even after that, like it just takes steps of moving forward, healthy ways of moving forward, and years later, I can honestly say like I'm in a good, healthy, positive relationship, and I can't say that my relationship right now would be what it is if I didn't go through that, So I would say a lot of women, especially if they're prideful like me or want to be super strong and you don't want, you know, to play victim or talk about those things, like it's okay to talk about it and heal from it and acknowledge that it happened and that it wasn't okay and that it was sick, and just really acknowledge it, talk about it, and then that's when you start to move on from it.
Right. No, and I appreciate you for opening up on that. I know that's a very extremely sensitive topic. Kind of going on the same lines, but on a positive side. Let's have a chance to big up a black man right now. Jamie coming in, doing what he had to do. Just your opportunity to give Jamie his flowers as a black man coming in this situation and doing it the right way. And
Mhm.
putting the ring on your finger, getting married, everything like that. This chance for you to give Jamie his flowers right now.
Yes, that's my man. I love him, Jamie. With me being, I would call myself an alpha woman, right? I've never needed a man. Like the only man that I could say like I really, really looked up to and respected and like admired and in life was my daddy. And Jamie's the first man that like, ever since I met him like way back in like 2013, but his demeanor, I've just always like had a high level of respect for him. And throughout the years, like he's gotten paintings from me and tattoos, and he's just always held himself in such a respectable manner. And then when the cards aligned and when he came along and, scooped me up from the shop and like everything, like he's just such a great man. I respect him so much. He has a heart of gold. Really, he loves his family. And for him to be a athlete. People ask me all the time, like, what's it like being with a football player and stuff like that? Like, I don't feel like I'm dating like an athlete or like, some flashy, Super Bowl champion or nothing like that. Like Jamie has not let any of that stuff get to his head. Like he's who he is. His values are what they are. He cares about what he cares about. He stays so true. He humbles me in a sense. Like he's just such a great partner to have. And yeah, he's the love of my life. I'm crazy about that man.
Come on, Black Love. We only have a couple more minutes here. Like I said, this is design and dialogue. So I guess, just what are kind of three artistic tips that you can give to a young artist watching this right now?
Artistic tips. One, I would say perfect your craft and whatever that means. Like always take it to the next level. Like there you can see a clear difference from someone who has just been, drawing in their house and possessed the talent versus somebody that, took the courses or studied things like, you know, whether it's you setting up a realistic study in front of you and drawing it for hours until you get it perfect, or whether that means going to an art school and, learning from a professor. Like gain the knowledge, like never stop learning. That's the main thing. Never stop learning. Two, I would say invest in yourself, invest in the colored pencils, like invest in the whatever level is at that you're at, like invest in that. When I started tattooing, like I invested every dollar that I made back into my tattoo career, tattoo machines, new inks, new everything. And then three, I would just say don't give up, like just be persistent, have a plan. And I think, and number three, I would say learn about business too, because you could be the most talented artist in the world, but if you don't have the business smarts, you're not going to be successful. Like you have to, they go hand in hand.
Which is what we were just talking about with the negotiation and everything like that a few minutes ago. I
Mhm.
guess, just kind of wrapping things up. Like I said, we only have a couple minutes left. How do you balance? And this is a very general question you kind of answered at the beginning, but I'll ask it anyway. How do you balance exactly motherhood and entrepreneurship?
I am doing my best. I'm just really like doing my best, honestly. It's hard to be in both places. I would be lying like if I said when before I had kids, before I had a family, like it was all about entrepreneurship 100% of the time. Like I'm in here, I don't care if a tattoo takes me till 2 a.m. I'm getting it done. I'm at every event, I'm networking, I'm moving, I'm shaking. My mind is literally on business 24/7. And then you go to have a family, and if you're anything like me, two under two, like now my mind is with my family. Like it's impossible to be 100% business and be at every event and take care of every client, do every tattoo when I got a family to take care of. So I'm trying to figure out how to still do both. Like you don't have to burn the candle at both ends, and that's what I'm doing, which is another reason why I'm so grateful for Jamie, because he supports me and my business so much. Like he is at home with the kids right now. He's like, do your thing, Kat Tat. Like he texts me in the middle of the day, like, you back in action, mommy. Like he's just so supportive. So I'm I'm blessed. I'm still figuring it out. I don't think there's a straight answer to that. It's just a day by day thing.
Well, Katrina Collins, we appreciate the time so much, man. Cat
Thank
Tat in the
you.
building. Hey, Paramount. Hey, yeah, y'all know what it is, man. You seen the story. You might have remember her from a few years ago, but she's back this time. And yesterday's price is not today's price. Kids, keep going. Never give up on your dreams and stay true and learn business. Go ahead, Kat. Go ahead, Kat.
And Black Ink LA airs Monday, May 15th, 8 Central.
Well, you heard it here first. You heard it here first with the times and everything like that. Kat, we appreciate the time so much stopping by for Design and Dialogue. And as always, I'm Rashad Milligan. Please take care of
Thank
yourselves.
thank you.